you're doing web development, at least a cursory level of knowledge of JavaScript is essential. It's the only language available in the web browser, and it's the basis for tools like jQuery and MooTools. Now, while you can get away with copying and pasting snippets of code, having a solid understanding of the fundamentals of JavaScript and the browser will make you unstoppable. JavaScript is a programming language, or more specifically, it's a scripting language. A scripting language is special because the computer can directly interpret the code that we write, whereas a non-scripting programming language, we must take an intermediate step of compiling our code into a computer-readable format. Despite its name, JavaScript has nothing to do with Java, which is an entirely different programming language. The name came about as a marketing decision, and it's one that's caused confusion since its introduction. Technically, JavaScript's true name is ECMAScript, after ECMA, the group that defines the standard for the language. We insert JavaScript into our page using script tags, and here's a simple example. We'll open up a script tag, and we'll say type equals text/JavaScript. And we'll make sure to close our script tag. And inside of our script tag, I'm going to write a little comment. And I'm going to write some code. We'll say alert. And then without any spaces, we'll open our parentheses, and we'll create a quote. And inside of these quotes, we'll put hello world. Now once we save the page and go back to our browser and refresh it, we should see if our JavaScript is working. And as we load it, we get this little pop-up that says hello world. Now if you don't get this alert, make sure you have JavaScript enabled in your web browser. Also, check to make sure your code is correct. If you miss one of these quotation marks or parentheses, your code will not execute. JavaScript is very strict about its syntax, so typos can cause your code to break. Being able to look over your code and spot these errors is an essential skill when working in JavaScript. So let's take a look at our code. We started with a script tag, and this tells the browser everything inside of this tag is JavaScript and should be executed immediately. The type equals text/JavaScript tells the browser that the type of script inside of our script tag is JavaScript. Now the type attribute is required in HTML4 and XHTML, but in HTML5 you can omit it completely because the browser will assume that it's JavaScript inside of your script tag. Now the first line inside of our code is what we call a comment, and this means this code will not be executed as normal code. Instead, there's simply comments to help the reader understand what's going on. Now it's very important to comment your code because anybody else working on the project, or even yourself later on, will really be confused at what's going on in your code if you don't leave comments. In this case, it's a very simple example, but when you do more complex actions, having good comments makes sense. Now in this example, it's a single line comment, so when we have two slashes, that means the slashes and everything else to the end of the line is considered a comment and will not be read as code. So everything over here, this is all comment. But if we go to another line, this will actually be code. Now if we want to create a comment that spans multiple lines, there's a different syntax we can use. We start our comment with a /*, and this is a comment. And even the next line will be a comment, so more comments. All of our code will be comments until we close it using */. So you can see everything from /* to * is our comment. This is called a multi-line comment. The next thing we do in our code is call a function. You can identify a function because it's a name immediately followed by parentheses. Inside of the parentheses are what we call arguments. In this case, it is the string hello world. The arguments tell the function what you want to do specifically when you call it. Now there can be 0, 1, or many arguments, and they're all separated by commas. The one argument in our example is the string hello world. And a string is a group of characters enclosed in either single or double quotes, and we use these for text like words or sentences. So what we're doing is creating our script, creating a comment, and calling the function hello world with a string. And this string is what's displayed in our pop-up window that we saw. Now, we created our code right inside of our script tag in our page, and while this is simple, it's generally discouraged. Typically, you have code that you want to run on many different pages on your site, and keeping them right inside of the page makes it very difficult to maintain. Instead, we can place our code in separate JavaScript files and include them into our page using the script tag. Now I've created a main.js file, which I've placed in the JS directory of my project. Now right now it's empty, but we can go ahead and take our code right here, everything inside of the script tag, we'll cut it out, and we'll switch over to our external JavaScript file and we'll paste it right in, just like it is in the script tag. Then we'll go back to our page, and I'm going to remove all the space in between our script tag. And then all we need to do to link that file in is do src equals, and then the path to our JavaScript file. And mine's in the JS folder called main.js. So if we save out everything, we should now have our main.js file loading into our index file. Let's check it out in the browser. We still have this old pop-up, so we'll close that out and we can see our page. Now let's refresh it and see if it still works with the external JavaScript. And as you can see, when we refresh the page, we got the exact same message. Now we have JavaScript running on our page. In the next video, we'll be taking a look at the basic parts of JavaScript and creating our own code.